Hi everyone, I'm Angela Clark and this is Dan Clark.
Hi everybody.
Husband. You guys, I grew up in the Worldwide Church of God, and Dan grew up in the Jehovah's Witness church, faith, whatever organization. And we both kind of had a similar experience, and it had to do with a lot of worrying about the end times, and that was all of our focus, to be honest with you. The tribulations, the Armageddon, all kinds of fears about it.
Went over the Revelation book, I don't know how many times,
Yeah, and so that was just like we lived and breathed that kind of stuff. And what it did was, and I'm sure anybody who's watching is probably most likely an ex-Jehovah's Witness or an ex-Worldwide Church of God person, so you can relate to what we're talking about. So, it makes these times when you hear a lot of people talking about Armageddon who are not of our old faith, because I'm ex, Dan's ex, but not of our old faith, you just kind of cringe because you so don't want to go there. I mean, I don't know about you, but you lived your whole life putting your whole life on hold because of that. Like Dan and his church, they didn't encourage getting married, did they? I mean,
no,
except for convenience.
No. Well, you could get married, but they discourage having babies, and I spent 40 years reading Revelation and reading about the doom and the League of Nations turning into the United Nations and the beast, and I don't ever want to look at Revelation again. And I spent 40 years of my life not living. I spent 40 years of my life fearing that God was going to kill me if I didn't pass out magazines and watchtowers and tell people genocide's coming to anybody who don't know Jehovah. So, man, I lost 40 years, and Angela lost a lot of years of her life too.
Yeah.
Waiting, and man, we have families still in. Yeah. And when we see them, they look mentally ill. I mean, they look really messed up. They're disappointed. Wouldn't you be disappointed if you were in a church for 2 generations, that told you the end was going to come tomorrow? 40, 50 years in a church and it didn't come, you'd be disappointed. You'd be depressed, You
would definitely be depressed. We've seen a lot of hoarders, a lot of mental illness, not living your purpose, not really having dreams, goals. I still have family members who are depressed, not pursuing anything. They're literally just waiting. One of them, my relatives, has hoarded lots of food and things like that.
Furniture.
And saying that, well, I hope you got your supplies ready, Angela, because when that time comes, well, and that's your problem. I saved up, and if you didn't, well, you're on your own. Like that. Like what? It so reminded me of that whole thing in the Bible that talked about the guy who stored up all his, grain in his barns and all that until they were full, and then he sat down and took his ease, waiting, for whatever to come. To me, it's just like that. And you're only worried about moi, me, only me, I. That is wrong. I'm sorry, but I don't.
Just think about that. Hoping everybody dies but you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're Jehovah's Witnesses or worldwide. It's the same thing. They're hoping and praying that any day the end comes and destroys people. When were we ever supposed to live? That's what I want to say. When were we ever? Is this life for anything other than passing out watchtowers and awakes and her worldwide stuff?
Yeah, we were not allowed to even think about getting married because Ann was coming any time. So in my church, you don't want to get married. Don't worry about getting a driver's license. You're never going to drive. You're never going to need to go to college or anything because the end's coming any day. It's just, I don't know. That was depressing for me when I was a young person. That's not what I wanted to hear at all. You imagine young people coming and now having this sort of talk given to them. It's just gross. So, what I believe we're supposed to be doing, what I enjoy doing now, and what makes me feel good about life is when I'm doing something, even this video, that is serving somehow my brother, my fellow man who might be going through a hard time. That's my favorite. Is where I think people are maybe hurting somehow or the other, and I could bring some peace, some thoughtfulness into it, something positive that would help. And so when I feel the best, and when I've been in my down days, really bad, what I found helped me a lot was when I just would do anything to do something nice for somebody. It didn't matter really what it was. It would just make me feel like I had a purpose, like I had a reason to be here on this earth. But what people are doing, we're noticing right now with this COVID thing going on, is they're just staying in their homes. And we're starting to see even just regular people getting depressed because they don't have any purpose. And so, to me, if the Bible mentions about that when Jesus comes back, we should be found doing good, right? In the Bible it says working, but I know what God means. He means we're serving one another. We're not just cowering and fearing and waiting and doing nothing and not developing ourselves, because Jesus said he came that we might have life and have it more abundantly. And so I want to live abundantly, and I want to help other people live abundantly. And that's important to me.
We visit a lot of churches, or we used to, but we used to visit a lot of churches, and I'll tell you, the people were just frustrated. The people were just depressed because of what was going on, because the end didn't come. I mean, we went into the Adventist church, and it sounded like Jehovah's Witnesses. Revelation,
yeah.
Get back in the church. Get your butts back in the church. Do not veer off. It's time. Now, they believe everybody's going to go into their church at the end. They believe everybody's going to become a Seventh-day Adventist. And so, this is crazy. But what we've seen mainly is joyless people, miserable people, unhappy people. I think you'd have to be unhappy if you were wishing that everybody died. I mean, your neighbor, I'd be glad we're dead. I might live in their house. Oh, well, actually, I like that house better. I mean, that's the way we lived as witnesses. And I think, man, when was I ever supposed to start living? I mean, we weren't. Religion replaced me. Religion became me. I became Jehovah's Witness religion. Angela became worldwider. She was a worldwider. She was a worldwide program. I was a Jehovah's Witness program. But as we know over time, you just get more unhappy. The false prophecies come and go, and this end time prophecy comes and it goes, and you say, what happened? And you live in this compartmentalized life. God's angry, God's loving, you're all over the place. But like Angela said, right now there's a lot of people running back to the church. Again, they're running back there for hope. To be told they're a sinner and the end's going to come. And just like I've been told for 50 years in the Jehovah's Witnesses, 60 years. Yeah, they've been saying the end's going to come. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Like Angela said, we ought to be doing God's will, which is loving our neighbor as ourselves. We can go to work and do that. We can do a great job on the job. We can bring our neighbor a little cake. We can invite some people over. Share some of our food with them.
Help somebody if they're sick.
Help somebody.
Make a phone call. Somebody's going through a hard time. Do a little video. Do a little post.
A little money to charity.
Charity. And anything you can think to do, just ask. I think it's good to ask God every day. What little thing could I do today? Because it all adds up. I mean, not that we're here to Anyway, I don't want to get a wrong attitude about that. Just that it comes out of your heart that you want to, right? But when you do, it makes life worth living. I'm just going to say that.
Brings you joy.
It does. It brings you a whole lot of joy. And, I want to say too, I'm very, very shocked that some of these religions that Dan and I just talked about here are literally writing people off because they didn't get into the church. You done missed the boat. One we've talked about here today, you done missed the boat, and it's over for you. And writing us off.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You're on a time frame. With a lot of churches, you come in, you confess you're a sinner, you accept Jesus, or you accept it the way they want it, and it's different in the different churches, but mainly there's a program you have to buy into, their program. And if you don't, they rustle you away. If you don't join the group, if you don't join their tribe, and it don't matter what it is, and if you start to get interested and you don't follow through, which means get baptized in there or do something they want you to do, they send you on your way. They turn a cold shoulder. We've been invited into churches where they welcome you on your first day. They show you around the church, and the first thing they want to do is put you to work. And they feed you a little something. They say, we're having this community dinner where we're all going to get together and eat. And then they're like, well, what are you doing? What are you going to do for the church? Are you going to work in the pantry? Are you going to, pass out pamphlets? Are you going to see people, pass out coffee? And you're like, well, I didn't say I wanted to dedicate my whole damn life to the church.
Yeah, but they want you to.
Yeah, and if you don't, like you say, you start getting the cold shoulder. We've literally had people say, we want you to have people over your house for dinner. We have a circle that we do. We do this person's house and this person's house and this person's house. And we want you to be a part of that. And we say, no, we don't want to be a part of that.
And boy, did we get harassed.
Oh, yeah. Angela especially. You're the wife. You push him to do it. You know. Yeah. And man.
It's like it's just all-encompassing, only in their little nucleus, their little group. And everybody else on the outside, honestly, guys, they don't care about anybody else on the outside. They only care about those on the inside. Our little nucleus, it's not how God intended it.
No.
He said that we're supposed to be in the world daily, but not of it, meaning not worldly like, where we live like the world. That's all. How else can you shine a light if you hide it under a bushel, meaning only with each other and each other's homes? That's not what was intended at all. Just so I can keep myself safe. Is that what it's all about? I don't get it, So, a lot of people are having fear about, is Armageddon coming? Is Armageddon coming? I bet you want to know, what do Dan and I think? Do we think that we're in beginning of Armageddon or what? Well, again, we don't want focus on that. Because you can read the Bible all you want to, and there's a million interpretations. I mean, a million, guys. There really, really are. But you can read it and you can get an idea. I mean, just based on what I've been reading lately, not Dan, but me anyway. Especially, I read Daniel 7 the other day and really read through it, and other studies, and I've been listening. I put prophets, things that have been said over the months, and I've been sort of just mulling it over, trying to figure out what is going on right now. Because these prophets were saying that we're going to go into a little bit of a time of rest and a grace period for about 4 years, is what one guy said, and then another guy echoed that. In fact, I'll tell you who these guys were. Kim Clement, which I've talked about on here before, and this prophet Sadhu Sundar Selvaraj with Jesus' ministries. He was raised a Hindu from India, and he says he's been called, he's a Christian now. So is Kim Clement. Kim Clement was from South Africa, came to our country, had a lot to say. He died in 2016, but he said all these things. So anyway, what I want to say about it is this. They said that we were heading towards a break and a period of blessing for a period of time. And based on what I read today in Daniel 7 and match that up with some Revelation stuff, what I feel that's happening right now is that we are going into that Christ, God, Jesus, doesn't matter to me, is kind of putting a damper on things to stop things for a little while, and then we're going to have this little break period, and then right after, in my opinion, based on what I'm reading, then we're going to go into the very beginning stages of the tribulation period. So that's just my opinion, based on what I've been studying and reading and putting together the prophets and what's been said. And I was really encouraged by what I read today, realizing that there is this little break. There's subtleties in the Bible, but they indicate where that power is stripped from this, and God stops this, and then for a time this goes on, and then that little wording, the time, that's the time I'm talking about we're in right now. And then I think that it's a break God's giving us to prepare ourselves, get ourselves shored up and ready to go for whatever's going to happen next, and to use wisely the time. So I'm excited to use the time wisely. I'm excited for the blessing, the short stint of blessings that I think we're all going to have for a little bit here. And when it's all going to start happening, I think it'll probably be soon. I still really, truly believe that these guys, too many of them, including Dan, has had several dreams, things that have been, that just go along with that. This is kind of, we're going to go in just a period of some peace, and then it's going to be a little weird after that. But regardless, I don't think that we need to be concerning ourselves so much with that, except for that we're focused on doing God's will, not on focusing on the end time. But our focus should be doing good and trying to build ourselves up to be the kind of people that God would have us to be. Yeah. That's my feeling.
Yeah. Regardless of the time, we should find joy in living. We should find joy right now. Joy in serving. We can serve so many little ways, just smiling at people, seeing if the neighbor needs groceries, doing little things for people, maybe helping somebody clean up around their yard. There's a million things that we can do today that make us feel good, and it always revolves around serving. So we don't need an end to come to feel like we got to serve to get anything. It's a way of life now. It seems like it's a way of life that we want to get into. What Angela's saying, we want to get into this way of living, and so that we feel good about ourselves.
And another thing that Dan and I both didn't experience so much in our growing up years was people encouraging you to develop your gifts. Like if you love music, so if you're a young person, you have an opportunity to get involved in music or playing an instrument, do it.
Yeah.
If you feel led to paint, then by all means, go to the store, get a little kit, and try it out. And then we have a friend of ours, he went down to the park, and he took his paint stuff, and he just started painting this bench in the park behind it. And this lady came and sat down on the bench, and I was like, well, that's interesting. So we just, okay, well, I'm going to add her into the picture then. And she ended up being a part of the picture with her little cat, I think it was.
Yep.
And when it was all done, we kind of mentioned to the lady that, I was drawing this picture with a bench, and then all of a sudden you sat on it with your cat. So I painted you in there, and it just so happened to be her birthday that day, and she felt so blessed, and she loved the picture. We gave her the painting that he had done of her while they were sitting there. It was kind of cool. You know, it's like just, whatever you feel led to do, whatever it is, it might be gifting.
And those are things you can do while you're at home. If you're in an area where, everything's locked down, like New York City or something, you could go to Hobby Lobby and get a few paintbrushes. Or something, whatever your hobby is, knitting, whatever. Yeah. And just do something creative. That it always makes you feel good.
It does. Or if you know somebody else who's good in that gift or wanted to be in it, you could just drop off the paintbrushes on their doorstep. Don't go if you feel like you shouldn't be going in there. Then okay, so be it then. But you could do something kind like that, and just encouraging us to be creative with our time. Another thing I like to do is pray for more of the fruits of God's Spirit. And I noticed in the past that whenever I would ask for more love every day, and more peace, whatever it was that I needed, I actually noticed that I got a little bit more. And then I would use that, and then I got more. So I think it's really good for us to keep asking for more peace, more joy, finding the joy in daily life. More love for people, more love for the world, more love for animals, more love for nature, being more aware, all these kind of things that make us feel like life is alive around us instead of that life is such a drudgery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Asking for these giftings, asking whatever you feel God's telling you to ask for it. So I think that's really important too, to do that. So
wouldn't that be funny if that was a prerequisite of, that you were one of the followers, that you had joy and peace even right now, instead of working, but you were joyful, peaceful, harmonious, happy, and just with life, because that's what he said, right? That's what Jesus said. You'll know my disciples by their fruit. So wouldn't that be something? Yeah. Well, he doesn't look happy. He looks miserable. He looks really angry. Yeah, he doesn't have any peace to him, doesn't have any harmony, doesn't have any joy, has a sadness. Yeah, even in the Bible it says, lift your heads up, your deliverance is near. Lift your heads up, joy, be joyful, your deliverance is near. And anyway, it seems like the people have forgotten all that. It seems like all that's forgotten now.
Yeah, for sure. And also, too, if you're not worried about the COVID, regardless, if you could have people over into your home to have a meal, have dessert and coffee, or sit outside. And when spring's coming, summer's coming, just invite them over for a coffee outside and just sit and talk and visit. Just whatever you could think to do to bring some joy to other people that are shut in or they've been sick or whatever you can do. Just do that so we can be doing our giftings, because we all have a lot of gifts. Among us. As worldwiders and as Jehovah's Witnesses, they didn't encourage that. And let's just talk about those gifts. Okay, good. I get to handle the mics. Oh, goody. Oh, I get to pass out watchtowers. Oh, goody.
I get to work behind the book room. I get to read the watchtower. I get to open the door and greet everybody. Welcome.
Oh, brother.
Those aren't the gifts.
No, those are not the gifts.
Those are JW gifts.
Oh, goody. I get to be and what do you call them? A deaconess. Oh, goody. Yeah. I get to be the one that greets everybody at the door. Not that that's such a bad thing or anything like that, but it's just that, is that all there is to us? Is that all there is to us? I think there's plenty more.
I still handle the mics. Mike Handler. Go ahead, Angela.
Hey. Okay, so anyway, I think we've said enough. So you guys, we love you. We hope that we've encouraged you to and spark a little spark that might encourage you to do something different than what you did today. That tomorrow will be something that's, I don't know, sparks you a bit.
Yeah, no more waiting. No more waiting.
No,
Jeez.
let's not wait.
We've been waiting long enough.
Amen. I'm so sick
For
of
what?
it. Gross, sick, disgusting.
You have a lot to give. You know, me and Angela were talking about it this morning, that we're made in God's image and likeness. And what he made, he said, was good and very good. You know, that's important to remember. What God made was good and very good. So we have a lot of potential, a lot of things that we haven't even brought forth out of ourselves because we haven't looked for them. We have not looked for them. Think about that. We've been told to read the Watchtower, read the Awake. We haven't been told to find out what our gifts are.
No, that's
our gifts, painting, maybe book writing, maybe whatever. I'm just saying 1,000,001 things. But we were never told to look there. We were told to be single focused on Jehovah's organization.
How about the end time?
Yeah, or the end
single
times.
Focused on the Armageddon.
Yeah, we were told to think about dying, not living. Think about saving your butt.
Yeah, and here now, 40 years later, we're still here. The end hasn't come. Man.
So we just wanted to share, guys, there's more to you than meets the eye. There's more to you than what you realize. And as we pull ourselves out of Watchtower, out of Worldwide, out of these organizations that's totally indoctrinated us, and we get ourselves out, we can actually take a look at some of this stuff, what our gifts are, how we're here to serve, you know, what our purpose is. Yeah, you know, and as long as our head's still in there and we're out here and we're going back and forth, it's a real struggle to find, and it takes as long as it takes to get out of there, to get out of those mindsets. But the sooner we can unravel all that stuff, like videos like this and other videos online, the sooner we can unravel this stuff, the sooner we can become who we're meant to be. And that's very exciting, because I believe, and Angela believes, the world needs you. We need each other. We need our authentic selves, not program people, but authentic selves. You know, the one God said, I made in his image and likeness. That's what we need to step forth for one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right, you guys, we hope that you enjoyed it once again, and we hope that you have a really good night. Or actually, it's night for us. We hope you have a good day. And we hope that you tell us and share with us what changes you made in your life and how it made you feel so good that you feel like you're doing something that made you feel like you're on purpose. So we'd love to hear those stories. Anyway, that's awesome. It from Dan and Angela Clark, and thanks for listening.
Sounds good. Thank you.